Whether it's at home or in the office, we're constantly pushed by an insane amount of things to do. When do we tackle them? We don't have enough time to do them as well as they ought to be done, and so we get frustrated. Recognize the feeling? Fortunately, it won't take an overhaul of your life or any major surgery to get things done. You just have to be a bit more productive and perform at a high level. That's what this book's about, finding out how to eat that frog. We'll tackle the biggest, hardest, most important tasks first, while becoming more disciplined and focused. Becoming boss of your to-do list and discovering a more efficient you. In this book, you'll learn about one simple way to improve your productivity by 25%. You'll learn how to identify which of your tasks you should be focusing on before the others, and also how chefs are a great role model when it comes to high productivity preparation. Let's start at the very beginning. You're swamped with work like running errands and going to meetings. You feel like you don't have any spare time. How do you get started when you have to tackle everything? Before you take any action, you have to define your goals. Clarity is an essential part of productivity. You can't work unless you know what you have to do. So figure out what tasks matter the most. That's the first step in overcoming procrastination. It's also a good idea to write down your goals instead of trying to sort them out in your head. Here's an important fact to remember. Only 3% of adults manage their time with written goals, and they accomplish 5 to 10 times as much as other people. Even highly educated individuals are less productive than those who write down their goals. After you've outlined your goals, plan your time in advance. Break your goals down into series of steps that you can deal with one after the other. And use checklists. They help you visualize your goals. When you look back on the tasks you've completed, you'll feel proud. You'll also be more motivated to keep going. Did you know that productivity improves by 25% when you work from a list? So you save a lot of time when you don't have to decide what to do next. Finally, work even more efficiently by using the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule says that for every list of 10 tasks, you should include 2 that are much more important than the others. Focus on those 2. Most people mistakenly focus on easy things first, the 80%, and procrastinate on the 20% that really matter. After you know what you want to do, focus on doing it efficiently. How? Well, you need to set your priorities. First, think about the consequences of your actions. What do you want to achieve? People who envision how they'll feel in the future are much more likely to make the best everyday decisions. Researchers back this up. In fact, a study from Harvard showed that having long-term goals is the highest indicator of social mobility. It's an even bigger indicator than education level or social background. Try using the ABCD rule. So this is a method and is a useful tool for helping you stick to your priorities. In the ABCD rule, you write down a list of tasks and assign them letter A to D. An A item is of highest priority, whilst the D's can be skipped if you don't have the time. An E task, for example, might be finishing viewing the behind the scenes section of your Star Wars DVD. And an A task could be editing your CV and applying for new jobs. When you're reviewing your to-do list, the A task, which is probably the most challenging, are your frogs. Eat them first. Accomplishing your A task is the key to success. Don't stop until your work is done. Focus all of your willpower on completing your goals. For example, imagine the highest priority, your frog, is an application for a new job. That requires a lot of work, like gathering recommendations, refining your CV, and combing through your network for any good connections. So concentrate until this task is done. If you start editing your CV then lose yourself in Facebook, it'll take twice as long and have twice as many typos. Focus on the task at hand. Being productive isn't just about good planning. It's a constant learning process. You have to keep adapting yourself as you learn the most effective ways to execute your plans. There are a few ways to do this. First, you need the right environment. Find a space where you can truly think and be yourself. Then make sure it's clean. You'll be more comfortable when it is, so wipe the dust off your desk. Next, see that everything you need is ready to go. Collect whatever is necessary in accomplishing your most important tasks. You can't start cooking if you don't have all the ingredients. Another key part of knowing yourself is understanding your own skills. Everyone has a special talent that makes them unique. Find yours and maximize its potential. Your special skill might be something that makes you valuable to others. You might be good at different things like numbers or foreign languages, working with people, or holding up under pressure. Find your skill by asking yourself the right question. What's easy for me that's difficult for others? What has helped me achieve what I already have in life? Finally, never stop improving. You can always get better at what you do. Never stop learning either. Always try to refine your skills. You'll prevent them from deteriorating and gain more confidence. There's no such thing as success without discipline and training. That might sound like something from a Kung Fu movie, but it's actually quite important. Your body is the engine for your success. Don't forget that. A machine functions better when it's maintained well, so take care of yourself. When you're physically and mentally energized, you'll work more effectively. Don't exhaust yourself either. Did you know that productivity starts to decline after about 8 hours of continuous work? A human wears down just like a machine that's been running for too long. Also, when you're well rested, you'll be much more efficient, so 8 hours of sleep every day is a must. It's also important to figure out what time of the day you're most productive. Most people work best first thing in the morning after a good night's sleep. When do you feel most creative and sharp? Ultimately, train yourself to be a self-motivating machine. Your thoughts have a big impact on your emotions, so become your own #1 supporter. In fact, 95% of our emotions result from the way we talk to ourselves. Your thoughts create your reality, so strive for optimism. Find the good in every situation, learn lessons from your setbacks, and look for the solution to every problem. Positive thinking empowers you. It makes you more confident and creative, so remind yourself regularly how great you are. Even if you don't believe yourself at first, you'll start to eventually. You'll also get better at handling challenging tasks. Another important part of self-discipline is creative procrastination. Creative procrastination means consciously choosing which activities you can postpone or skip. Most people postpone their most important tasks first. Efficient people, on the other hand, can deliberately procrastinate for less valuable activities like watching TV. Planning for success is certainly easier than achieving it. As your journey progresses, you'll encounter all sorts of obstacles you couldn't have predicted. So how can you overcome them? First, figure out what's holding you back from realizing your goals. A number of things can limit you, like people, personal weaknesses, or lack of resources. Nearly anything can hold you back if you let it. But be careful, it's tempting to blame the external world for your failures. People often get frustrated with their jobs or families when things get tough, thinking they're the root of the problem. So don't overlook your internal limiting factors too. In the beginning, you might lack the skills, experience, or abilities you need to achieve your goal. It's easy to pinpoint limiting factors you're not responsible for. But the most powerful forces that hold you back are internal ones. At this point, it's okay to feel overwhelmed by everything you have to do to improve. So focus on just one task at a time. You'll progress more steadily this way. Tackle the first task first, only then can you move on to the next. Fitness and strength training works in the same way. You can't start off by squatting 200 kilos, but if you work out every day and improve gradually, you'll get stronger and stronger until you reach your goal. Set the bar high for yourself. Don't wait for other people, like your boss or your loved ones, to push you towards what you want. Be your own source of motivation. Here's a trick to use. Imagine you just learned you're going on a surprise vacation tomorrow. What would you have to do before leaving? Those are the tasks you should take care of right away. Make a habit of this if you find yourself eating that frog. Make a habit of this and you'll find yourself eating the frog regularly. And if you can't do that consistently, you'll join the 2% of people who work without needing supervision. They're called leaders. There's one more key to being productive. You already know what it is if you've ever felt like you didn't have the time for all the important tasks you needed to do. It's time management. You can't split up every task, unfortunately. The biggest tasks often require long stretches of unbroken attention. Consider a successful salesperson, for instance. They can't always be on the floor. They need to set a lot of time aside for calling clients and gathering feedback from them. It's useful to keep a clear map of the day in your mind. If you're struggling to schedule your time effectively, start making appointments with yourself and stick to them. Breaking your day down into slots can be very helpful. A salesperson, for example, might schedule something like 9 till 12, follow up with prospects. You can also try dedicating your early morning hours to work you can do by yourself, like answering emails. Save the other tasks for your afternoon in the busy office. And even though planning is essential, don't wait too long before you take action. You can only experience a mental state of flow when you're working consistently. Flow occurs when the ideas come to you easily. You'll become more creative and perform better and more easily when you're in your flow. You'll enter a state of flow when you develop a sense of urgency about the tasks you need to perform. Don't just talk about it, act now and get it done. Eat the frog and you'll gradually gain an inner drive that pushes you beyond your current limits. Set yourself on the right path, stay dedicated and you'll reach your goals.